Welcome back to One Piece Anime Review, episode number 174. This I'm viewing the 954th episode of the anime. Well, it's called Men's Enma, that's what I got online. Though I think that's a different title. Check. Just sure. Because I'm thinking it might be also talking about the 998th chapter of the manga, Ancient Types. Yep. What do? That's just long as name is White Swords. Yep, that's the name of the episode. Now, this episode adapts from pretty much the rest of chapter 953. Yep. Now, this episode here, yeah, they pretty much adapts the rest of 953, basically pages 3 through 17. Yeah, because last week they just have the opening page. Mostly for this one, it's a mixture of a lot of flashback stuff, but a little bit of present day stuff. Now here's the thing: only Zoro is actually here of the Straw Hat crew. Yes, all the rest of the Straw Hats are nowhere to be seen. Why? Because they're not actually in the chapter. This is probably also by far the first episode of the anime of the entire series I can think of where Luffy does not make an appearance. This is probably the first time in quite a while this has happened, where Luffy is actually absent for an episode. It's quite shocking though they did that, probably because also they want to focus a lot on what happened in the chapter, than let's just say, throw in Luffy for a quick cameo just because he's not in the chapter itself. That's normally what they would do, but this episode, nope, no Luffy, no rest of the Straw Hats, just Zoro, Kinamaru, Hidori, along with Kinemon makes a brief appearance in the episode for like one scene. Yep. Simply put, basically, we also figure out the name of the bandit who's actually here, who this creature is. And it's connected to Kinemaru. Now, Zoro chases after him, basically continuing where last week left off. And of course, Kinemaru does not know who Zoro is. Of course, he knows Luffy, but does not know he's not Zoro. So, Zoro chases after him and comes across a strange house what looks like it's in ruins. And that's where I see him for a bit in the episode. And then Kinemaru explains exactly what exactly happened with him just knowing after he was last seen in the flashback from last week. Where he was rolling around for a bit and he ended up at a grave. He was going to commit Shinpakuto for being a failure. And then, of course, we hear the Beast Pirates being attacked by a giant fox. This is actually Enma, or Namoro, I think that's how you pronounce the creature's name. Yeah, this was the pet of the daimyo of the area, Ringo. Yeah, the name of this area is known as Ringo, and this creature was in fact his companion. He actually died at some point, and apparently also Kaido is responsible for how the region currently is. But this fox has been protecting the eternal graves. Yes, these are graves of late samurai with their swords as served as grave markers. So Kinemaru basically treats his wounds, and then the very next day he takes a pickaxe. Despite the fact he says, "Oh, you do a good job protecting it," he ends up robbing him the very next day. He takes a good number of swords. I'd say, if we look at the pile, it looks like he took about 10 swords already. The Underworld basically tries biting him, and after some convincing, he does let go. After saying he really needs to, then they convince, oh yeah, let's just rob these graves anyways, just take the swords. And they spend apparently quite a while basically robbing these swords. Of course, Kinemaro also sneaks into the capital, steals some tofu, because, well, Fox love tofu. Well, fried tofu anyways. I've never tried tofu, so I don't know what it tastes like. This lasts for a good period of time, and after they took a good number of swords, my guess is they probably been working on stealing those swords for at least for about a year, I'd say. They get that many amount of swords, it must have been a full year, or at least a month. I would think a month per se, given the fact they probably took all these swords out, take some like wraps and wrap them all like where they are. And then they come with an interesting idea. Build a cave right underneath this place to store all these swords, just to make sure they don't get stolen by everybody else. And then, of course, well, we show one of the times we actually defended the graves by having the 3 arsonists basically show up. Yeah, the 3 arsonists who were from present day, who Hinawar basically cheated out of them all their money in exchange for them basically for, well, because these guys were rich, so they couldn't. These guys would basically rip people off while also basically burning people's houses on to gain land. I'm like, and the Shogun allows us to basically have with no problem whatsoever. They briefly Kinemaro and the Fox. They get away. They drop their swords. Though Lockup doesn't kill them because they're seen present day. So good on him for not doing that. And then, of course, one time he went to the capital to steal tofu, and then he was arrested for stealing tofu and sent off to Udon, where he spent the next 13 years eating poisoned fish. Then, of course, we know that the bandit who actually fought Zoro a couple times, turns out he actually is the Fox from the flashback. Yep, he's the actual Fox. How is this possible? Takes off a basic piece of clothing and bam, he's the Fox. And then he basically walks off. He's never seen again in the series. As far as I can tell, this creature's never seen again. Yep. So, Zoro wants his sword back Senshu, and Horner's like, if that's the real Shotsu, give it back to Land One. He's like, no, that's mine. And he's like, perhaps I can give you a replacement sword for it. He's like, a replacement sword? You have me interested. I'll give you my father's late sword, Enma, the sword that wounded Kaido. And Zoro smiles at that, like, Like, I'm sure that probably I'm sure the voice actor like, I want that sword. Yep. And that's how the episode ends. It's a damn good episode, and I can't wait for next week's episode. Which, who knows? It might adapt pretty much the whole chapter like it did this time. Who knows? It depends on what they're going to do for next week. The thing is, the manga right now, as of this episode, is 45 chapters ahead of the anime. Yep, but it's a damn good episode. Definitely looking forward to next week's episode when it comes out. Excuse me. Next up is... Now I'll talk about Ancient Types, chapter 998. First, we have a reader's request. You see, Enru. Wow. Enru. First time he's been seen since his own cover stories, where he's just kicking back and listening to music. Yeah, listening to music on top of a cat. And of course, he's listening to it on a freaking record player. I know it's a glare, but yeah, that's so funny. Now, the chapter starts off exactly where the last chapter left off, where Oasama, Kaido's base, is flying. And everyone's like, what? No, it's not falling, it's flying. And of course, Chopper's like running like crazy. We see briefly on this same page, we see Zoro and Brook, of all people. Brook does very little. He basically like tries to fight something, and of course he ends up hitting Zoro for some reason. Not sure why. The virus is still in Chopper's body, but it's not basically advancing him. And then like, oh, Dr. Chopper. Oh, it's Mega and Tristan from the Mink Tribe. Yeah, Tristan is a nurse, while Moga is a doctor. So they're basically here to help him basically develop the antidote. And of course, Marco basically is there. And of course, we see that a lot of the beast pirates look like they've been frozen solid. One person free, and of course, Chopper is wondering like how they get the antibodies out. We see another brief appearance by Brooke. Brooke doesn't do very much in the chapter. And he's like, alright, I think I've got the handle of the situation here. Hey, Rowanura, I'll fly you up there if you want. He'd probably like, okay. And we see briefly Robin. Yes, Rob makes a brief cameo on this page. The Brooke doing something. And then we see X-Drake basically biting on... We see Arpo. And then he gets bitten by frickin' X-Drake. Like, everyone's like, oh yeah, prove the winning side. And then we see that Jinbei's beating the crap out of more Animal Kingdom pirates. I'm wondering what the heck is Sanji. And we see Frankie ends up fighting a frickin' Triceratops. Yep. Name Satsunusuke. He's a dragon fruit, ancient type, Transaurus model. And then we see what Sanji's up to, where he's surrounded by a bunch of beautiful women who are all snakes and one's a giant woman. I don't know you say love me. This is Black Maria, the spider fruit, ancient type, Ramagao Garma. Stay here forever, darling. I'll keep you as a pet. It's like, but how do you look? Women. One of them looks like one of Boa Hancock's sisters by the look at the face. This woman here look like she's got blonde hair. Looks like she's Margaret. He's like, is this place heaven? Does he have a matzo girl fetish? Who knows? And then we see Jimmy confronted by someone called Who's Who. It's Cat, former saber-tooth tiger, and we see the Topo pirates. Well, some anyways. We see his subordinates. He basically steps out helmsman of the Straw Hat crew. Like show your face, and then all of a sudden we see Page 1 and Uti show up. Yep. Uti finally shows off her Devru power. Page 1 knew he was basically a giant raptor. He was a Spinosaurus. Utili is a Parasaurus. Interesting. So they wonder where the heck they went. And it's like, she'll split Yama, and she's like, I'll split that woman's head in two. And like, nobody will come here. And Mo was like, what is this thing? A statue of a dragon. In the past, it was placed at the entrance to the island. But my friend destroyed it, so discarded the statue here. Friend, yes. The man who came here years ago to kill my father. Fire Fist Ace. So, he put the statue here? Ace? Wow. Cool. I mean, it was mentioned that she knew Ace, and yeah, that brief little image of Ace proves that yes, definitely. But I'm going to give this chapter, because this was a damn good chapter, and show out the fact that she knew Ace, like one of make her like the second person in Wano who knew Ace. The other course being Tama. It'd be interesting if these two actually meet. Now, Tama and Yamato both want a child with Luffy. Tama, probably Luffy would have no problem. He would have a little bit of concern about Yamato because her father happens to be one of the 4 emperors. But she basically disowned him. Yep. But unlike with My Hero Academia, I would have given them a 10, but because of the way the chapter ended, how gross it ended, that's why I gave it 9.5. This chapter, I give a 10 out of 10 because it's damn good. And I can't wait for the next chapter. And as of right now, we are 2 chapters away from chapter 1000. Now, there is a new chapter coming out next week, which that's good. But after that, from what I saw for release dates, apparently they're releasing 1000 at the start of next year. Basically, January 3rd. Probably because the weekend basically probably would have released this Christmas. That's probably the reason why. Just like Oda really wants to get to 1000 very quickly, they had to take a break. Excuse me. Yeah, that's basically how it is. I'm hoping that eventually we actually have a new... I'm hoping that maybe Weekly Shonen Jump might release 1000 as a bonus present. Like maybe if they can't release this the 27th, or if they don't get... If somehow Oda gets this chapter in early, he might release the 24th, but my guess is when it comes to this chapter, it'll probably be a double-sized chapter. because this is One Piece. Weekly Shonen Jump's biggest cash cow. I wouldn't be surprised if it's longer than 20 pages. I expect it because it's the 1,000th chapter of the series. And I would also not be surprised if, in fact, that this chapter is the final chapter of this arc. I kind of thought that for 900 when it comes to Whole Cake, but that continued on for a couple more chapters regardless. Excuse me, maybe something big will happen. I mean, I highly doubt they're going to kill off Luffy in 1,000 chapter. That'd be stupid because he's the main character of the series. Do I think any of the Straw Hats will die in this battle? No, one I don't think will die is Jinbei because he just joined the crew officially. I don't think any of the Straw Hats get affected. I do think the Straw Hats will grow after this battle. Do I think there's any deaths? No, I can't think of any. I think that Kaido himself, the only one that might die is maybe Kaido because of all the terrible things he did. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kaido died. Big Mom, probably not. But the only death I could probably expect in this arc is maybe Kaido. Well, they were killed off the Shogun. So I wouldn't be surprised if Kaido died. Probably at the hands of Zoro. Who knows? Heck, I wouldn't be surprised if Kinemon killed him. But it all depends. Yep, so that's it for this particular review. Now, I would have done Attack on Titan today too, because the next one is going to be Boruto. But there's no new no episode today. Nope. It's going to be Mondays. Yep. And like I'm online, apparently it's going to be 16 episodes, which that's going to be interesting, given the fact how much of the manga they probably have to adapt that quickly. Yeah. That or the fact they're probably going to save the bit, maybe like for a movie or something, but 16 episodes is going to be kind of rushing it. But it's a bit less than last season. I was kind of expecting to be a little longer, but I'll discuss more about that when I talk about Attack on Titan tomorrow, okay? But here's the next video, which will be Boruto, which is going to be an interesting episode. Bye.